All right, really, really excited today. I was talking with Chris. I love to do an inspection on this deal. We're going to go over that. But tonight, I'm excited because I saw a lot of new names too. So we have some new people on, and I want them to meet our team and family. And so in saying that, I want to start this call with my resume that I finished building after many, many accomplishments. I had a beginner one pager 20 years ago, maybe an intermediate one, 5 or 10 years after that. And then now I'm about 25 years since 47 years old. So I bought my first four family when I was 23. So now I finally, after many, many accomplishments, not just in multifamily, I made a really great resume. So I'm going to like to share that, start out with that, a little education about what's going on lately in the markets. Let me share my screen. And so I just, after, I have a mastermind and I teach about one pagers and resumes and stuff like that. I mean, after many, many accomplishments, I finally put this together and I'm really proud about it. So I'm going to do my intro off of it, which is pretty cool. And then I'm going to have Ramo and myself, I'm going to email it out to everybody because this isn't really about investing just in multifamily because there's so many deals out there. You have these big groups, 20% plus IRRs. People really don't just invest in our deals. And like, for the new people on here, they really invest in our team. They invest in me. They invest in my family, my beautiful family, Chris, Krista, the team that we assembled and the many years of experience, not just in multifamily, but our successes in our other jobs. So I tie that in. So Marco Barbaro, full-time multi-investor, full-time multi-family investor now. I was a 12-time award-winning former chef in a family restaurant. I am the co-founder of the MIH Master. I now mentor over 150 students who are closing many deals. Robert Musso's on here right now. He closed 9 deals last year. And he's part of my mastermind and I'm his friend, his mentor. And he's actually invested in 5 of my deals as an LP because he has a proper LP GP mindset, which we teach. And other gurus and mentors don't do that because they don't know how to teach it actually. So yeah, I fully booked the mastermind. While many gurus are spending $2,000 to $12,000 a month on ad spend, I spent $0 overbooking a mastermind with marketing skills and with social proof and learning how to use social media the right way. So yeah, I have 22 plus refi enrolled properties that I put in 100,000, refied my money out and moved into another deal. Those are generational wealth deals going to my kids. In 2020, 2021, 2022, when there's a lot of fear of COVID, with my mastermind, we conquer fear. And that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. I was able to close 23 deals, 7 in 2020, 8 in 2021. And currently this year, we're closing a bunch of great deals. We started a self-management company called Sharpline Communities. I already am part of a self-management company, Ram Property Management, where my brother and Jake from Jake and Gino, we own over 2,000 units and we have a CapEx crew, 2 CapEx crews, and over 30 or 40 employees in that company. And we were 96% collected during COVID. I am a true go giver, building teams and helping students get into deals every day. I am the marketing specialist for Sharpline Equity and MIH Mastermind, fully booking events without ad spend. We just finished an event in White Plains last year, over 100 people. San Francisco event was epic, 3 days, over 100 people. And then we just did Ponte Vedra Beach, 3 full days of people in the same room networking. That was 125 people also. I am also investor relations for Sharpline Equity. I will get to know every single person. I take the time to build relationships. I have raised over $60 million from August 2020 to June 2022, 12 total syndications, I think. I have to recount them. I'm a student success specialist for Jake and Gino, and my current portfolio is at 38 multifamily deals. And my goal was 15 was for me, for financial freedom. Deal 16 and on is for my daughters. My goal was 30 deals. I'm now going to be at 40 in a little bit. And then ultimately, I would like to be at 50 deals and really a high number in holdings, all for my kids. I do this because I love this space. I love multifamily. And with the education I have and market cycle that we teach, I look forward to, in a good economy, bad economy, good market crash, look forward to buying right, managing right, and financing right, and doing deals and hedging against inflation, high gas prices, high interest rates, this crypto crash, stock crash, and helping people who have money in IRAs, which I don't have an IRA. I have actually very good financial advisors when I was 30, and they actually don't believe in IRAs. We believe in better vehicles, as in whole life and other stuff like that, that we can use it towards multifamily. And instead of IRAs, we teach about EQRPs and self-directed, which I don't like self-directed, but more EQRPs. But there's many vehicles that we get into. So Chris, you want to add anything about me like being able to like invest in 1998 in a 4-family? Then in 2007, I carried that 4-family for 20 plus years, never missed a beat. The rents were fine. I purchased in 2012 to 2017 in the upturn. I wish I bought more in 2008, but I didn't have this mastermind. But I love this asset class of multifamily. But what I love is being around the right people. Because anybody can buy in 2016 when you're throwing a dart at the board like crypto, and everybody was buying Bitcoin and XLM, and all of a sudden crypto goes like this off the cliff. And who's surviving in crypto? The people who, like John Beatty, advised me get into cash. And because I'm in the mastermind, we have a crypto chat, and John Beatty was like, "Hey, Marco, it's time to get into cash in a certain month before the crash happened." I did that, and that's why I did well with crypto instead of just throwing darts. So
yeah, I mean, I joined Marco's. I joined. I'm a member of Marco's MIH mastermind, and I feel like I've gotten smarter over the last year and a half, 2 years. John Beatty and I say hi again, John, just so people can see it and you pop up on.
Hello.
There you are.
Hi.
Like we, he's got his kids in the background. Like we talk about the market all the time, projecting. Where's it going? Information is more real time now, and you have access to it. And that allows us to feel more confident about staying in the space with the real time information that we're getting about debt. And we're going to get into that, but that's really key right now. I see a lot of folks right now underwriting deals without the correct debt. So what happens is the market's changing so fast, and your deals have to work with the new debt. And I see a lot of groups maybe be like 4 months too early on their numbers, and then the debt changes on them and they still try to make the deal work. When you're more real time and communicating with really elite folks that are just as obsessed as I am about data, we talk all the time, and we access our resources too for debt, and we talk about it, talk among the group. And what you do is you say, does this deal still work if the rates go to say 5, 8, 6? So that when that happens, you're not caught. And Joe and I have said no to quite a few deals that stopped working or pushed too far when maybe we were earlier in the negotiating position. And now the sellers have come back and they're like, yeah, we're ready to go. And we're like, yeah, so are we, at 10,000 a unit less. So that's happening real time. And it's really important to get yourself surrounded with a community that is this elite, and then keep and accessing information on the real time.
Keeping it real time, we're going to get into this deal on the real time of what we got the number to be also. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So going into, and everybody's talking. So before I go into the wins, I'm going to move over to a couple wins and we move over to the presentation and intros. Everybody's talking about, we have the stock market crash, the crypto crash, and they're talking about the real estate market crash. And guys, just to be honest, I'm excited about a real estate market crash. I teach market cycle. I study market cycle. I've been through a 20-year plus market cycle from 1998 to 2022. And like I said, in COVID, I purchased 7 deals that are all refining. I have 6 refis cash outs coming this year. I have a total of $750,000 of refi money that is tax-free because they're generational wealth deals. I'm not selling them. So they're not the syndication types, they're different. But I'm actually, like Kiyosaki teaches, millionaires are made in a down market. So in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. So in 2007, it was me and my brother, and I lived in a little bit of fear. I didn't have this mastermind. I had me and my brother who were very smart just together, but I didn't have John Beatty. I didn't have Chris Jackson. I didn't have the MIH mastermind. We were careful in 2007 and 10. Dr. Gupta purchased a great deal in 2007 in California for $600K, which is now worth $3.1 million. And he cashed out refi on that. So I wish I had the education back then, but I was a young guy and I would have done more, but I did wait. And I bought in 2012 to 17, which was amazing. And I built my wealth. So now I'm very excited at 47 years old. I got some white hair, and they say with white hair comes experience. So you should listen to the people with white hair. that are older than you, for the young guys out there. So I do have the experience of that 2007.
Or is it that the white hair comes from experience and your kids?
Yeah, basically three kids. I have three daughters, and four women in my life. So but yeah, no, I mean, it's the experience in life that even the young guys in my age, 27-year-old Justin, he can buy now because of me. I wish when I was 27, I had Marco. I didn't find the mentor because I was too young back then, But anyway, so in saying that, let me stop share. And where is the stop share? Okay, Chris, let's share a couple quick wins, then we'll go into the quick intros for you guys and we'll jump right into the presentation. One quick win I want to start with, I want to talk to you about, it's twofold on our 64 unit. The bigger win than anything, it's forget about monetary. Everybody worries about, how much money am I making? And the biggest win for us is where you're kicking ass with the self-management company we started. We're self-managing that deal. Joe, I want to let Joe talk. He's doing an amazing job, which is going to lead into the monetary aspect of it. But Chris, talk about controlling the asset. Talk about the self-management, and Krista also doing a great job in that, please.
Yeah, so we just recently refinanced a property, a 64 unit. The first 3 months after we purchased, we were using a third-party management company, and we've been doing this for a while. We'll get into our experience in a minute for those that don't know us, but we do have a fair amount of experience with third party, and we just knew right away that it wasn't the right fit. So we knew that this was the time. Joe is boots on the ground in the area, and he went full time with Sharpline and began to manage the property. And within about 8 months, really within 3 months after taking over, we just knew that we were onto something, and we were able to refinance the property within a year. It was amazing. The property will cash flow still. We still have money in the bank to do significant CapEx still with ample reserves, so everybody can put their head on the pillow at night and hold this property for a long time and do what multifamily is supposed to do, cash flow, which it does. And it gave us a lot of confidence that we were on the right track of self-management with Sharpline Communities. I think we'll get into, I'll ask Joe and Nick questions when we do the intros. I'll ask them questions to talk about it. But other wins where we just closed 72 unit, a 115 unit, all self-managed, approximately 250 units self-managed now.
The 115 is generational. The first time I ever done this, generational wealth syndication. So it was one time, very large rent raises on those. And we're looking at the returns are going to be really good because rents are going from 600 to 995 and 800 to 1400, which is kind of crazy on the modest end of it. But even if rents don't go as we're projecting, they're still going to go up a lot.
It's meant to be a long-term hold. All the investors that are a part of that understand that it's meant to be a long-term hold. And we've hired a lot. We have a regional. The regional was at the 72 unit and then moved up to regional. That was the intent. And now she's helped hire more, and the team is doing wonderful at it. It's a lot of hard work, but we have max control, which is what we want. And it's working out. It's wonderful. Expenses
are lower. We're going to get into self-management later. Self-managing is just having total control. We're able to lower expenses like certain 4,000, maybe more a month, 5,000 a month. Joe, talk about real quick, Joe, before we move on, talk about the rent raises and what you've done at the 64. Where do we start at? Where are we getting to, and where's it going, please?
Yeah, we started average rent was $750. These are three bedrooms. Quickly went to $950, and then just recently, this last round of leasing, we're at $1,100 on the 3 beds.
So now for new people in multifamily, 750 to 900, 150 rent bump is great. And I'm seeing a lot of deals out there. People like, we have a great deal, 100 rent bump. So we went from 750 to 950, you said, right? Which is 200. And now we're going to 1,100 in that area in the market that we want to be, where we know we're getting the rents.
And Joe, what's interesting about this is we are self-managing, but at the first set of phase 1 of self-management, we still have money in the account for more significant upgrades, but we're really getting these upgrades a year later, this increase in rent with, I'm going to call it minimal upgrades. We haven't really even blown it out yet.
Yeah, that's right. It's actually, we do it on all the properties, but it's the outside in. We hit the parking lots and they look amazing now. Stripe and seal the parking lots. and really just cleaned up the outside. And that brought in a lot more foot traffic. And, we did some minimal upgrades on the interior, but we really didn't need to go big. And we're definitely exceeding the rents that we were expecting and, at the beginning of year 2.
Sometimes it takes a little while for the outside in to season a little bit, but you let it season and then it starts to take hold. And we leave that reserve for the next level of upgrades for the interiors for when we can really capture it, because now you have the signature of the property is changing.
And
so we're doing that at the 115, we're doing that at the 72, and the team is growing, understanding that ethos.
Yep. And with everything around this, the reason I love multifamily is because, is it easy? No. But me being an entrepreneur, running a restaurant and starting many businesses, I love the challenge of when things aren't right, like, oh my God, inflation or interest rates and lumber's higher, roofing materials are higher. We need to be problem solvers. When I was in the restaurant business in my early 20s, I needed to learn how to solve problems. And out of all the partners, me and my brother, mother, and father, I was more of the problem solver who can handle 3 or 4 things at once and make this call, get that guy here, and let's instead of dwell on it, get it fixed, move on. And we're going to encounter a lot of these things in multifamily, and I'm used to it. So for the new people, sometimes they're not used to it, but that's how multifamily is the teams that win are the teams that can solve problems and move on. Let's move on to, and then example, Joe, like the 64 unit where you're saying, Chris, that we didn't even pop it yet, where our 43 unit in York, where we were getting $11.99 rents, and now we're getting $17.99 on a B+ A class. So this is why I get excited. If I'm getting $17.99 on a B+ A class in York, Pennsylvania, when we got $11.99, we underwrote it at $14.99, I think, or $13.99. I think $14.99 you did, Chris. And then all of a sudden we're getting some. That's why I get excited about the 64. Is that Dr. Kushner's on this call, and I got the refi for him. And we're being very modest that when we pop those units, we're gonna get more. But we want to under promise and over deliver. I don't want to say we're gonna get this. We don't need to do that, because the people, once again, I said invest in us. They're not investing in our returns that we're gonna project. So Chris, any last 94, one last one I want to share is the 94 unit Opportunity Zone new build in York.
Sure. Nick, you can just start the presentation, but I'll talk about the start the first slide, the Sharpline slide. But yeah, we're also working on a new build this huge screen now. This is so weird. If any of you guys have one of those massive screens, like when you zoom, all of a sudden it goes like huge. But we have a 94 unit new build that is in process. We are working with a bank to get the bank loan, and we just got the what's called an Act 2 clearance, so that all environmental is completely checked, so that a refi, so 1, you can get the lending, and number 2, you can get the refi. So we actually have almost like refi capability before we even start. So it's an A class, four blocks down from where our B+ is. So we're doing 94 units A class, and we're probably going to blow the doors off of rents like 2,000 plus.
So what the wins on that I want to share real quick is Eric the Builder, our friend. We're doing that project because of him and with him. He's actually investing $750K into the deal. And he's part of our team where to this deal, he flies out with us, and he's a builder, and that's what he does, is build these. So when we get a quote on a roof, and the guy goes, it's 50 grand, we know if it's the right quote. We will not be ripped off, because Eric's right there saying, that's a fair quote, that's the right amount. So he comes to Orlando. For the new people on this call, on our team, it's done on purpose. We have to have a builder on our team. And Eric is a very good, first of all, he's a friend, and now second of all, he's our partner. And it's just great having him there in inspections, because a lot of teams don't have that. And then if you don't, that roofer's bid might be 57,000 instead of 50 if your buddy that's a builder's not there. And just like the plumber and everybody. So
he's been a great, we've known him now for over a year and a half, 2 years. He's been to the last 7 inspections, just a wonderful person, and just a real depth of knowledge in construction and ability. And he did like massive value adds too. So sometimes when you get builders that just do A class, they just know how to tear shit down and then make it perfect. So when you have a person that's done massive value add, you know the certain things that why would you take that down? That's working. So it's a different lens. All right, let's get into this, Marco. Everybody's here, ready to rock, and they want to hit this 96 KCK. Let's do this thing. Let's go, Nick, go to the next one. All right, guys. We name all of our projects. This is a 96 unit, 2 property, 60 unit and 36 unit. The 60 unit is to your left. The 36 unit is to your right. It's a stabilized value add, which means that there's not an occupancy problem. It's 97% average occupancy across both of these already, just very low rents. I'll get into the specifics of the deal. It's been owned by a person for a very long time. This is in Kansas City, Kansas, KCK. That's what the cool kids say, KCK or KC Mo. Joe taught me that, so I don't sound like an idiot in Kansas City. So you got to learn that if you're going to cruise KC market and sound like you know what you're talking about. So this one is, we're going to self-manage, and this is location is key in KC, because this is right on 2 main thoroughfares that have a lot of traffic, a lot of visibility, not too much traffic where it would be a nuisance, but great visibility. And that's something we learned from our mentor. Great visibility helps with people just driving home. You change the outside in, and you get a lot of walk-ins also, and people start talking about it. So that's great. Just leave this up, Nick, for a second. We are going to do a heavy renovation on this. And as you can see on the left, we're going to do a paint job here. We're keeping the brick because the brick is just in really great condition. I just don't believe in painting stuff to paint it, and then you end up with flaking paint on brick. You just have to do it right. And if you have great brick already, why paint it? So we adjusted the rendering slightly to have a slightly different look to keep that brick. But we're going to redo the balconies, as you see, with paint and create a nice visual appeal there. On the right, some of you may know that we've done a mansard redo in Oklahoma City, a pretty massive one, 106 units, massive mansard redo. And we've learned a lot of lessons in that, so now we're better at it. And this one's only 36, so you can, it's not 100 units, it's a little bit of a few for us too, because it is a pretty heavy lift, but we know what we're doing. We've done it now. And actually, these roofs are in pretty good condition. Roofs, these are pitched. In the one in Oklahoma City, it's flat. We redid those roofs. These pitch roofs are actually newer. The mansard is the stuff on the side that's covering that window, and they just look like crap. I can't handle it. I can't handle the mansards. You're never going to get your B-class rent if you think and you have mansards. It's just not going to happen.
So guys, the vision here is, on our team is a good team has a vision of ripping these mansards off. A lot of people buy these mansards and they just hold them and cash flow and try and sell them because they don't know or they're scared of handling a big project like that. How much the CapEx, how to do it, can it be done, what's underneath. So we actually have the template. He's going to show you later on in our next, the 106 unit with the little project, that it's getting done. We're already on building number 3 or 4, and we're going to be completing how many buildings, Chris?
14.
Yeah. And then this one's 1 compared to 14. So we're already done. We have the concept down where they can now, the first one might have taken longer. Now we can really go faster on the other ones.
So remember this picture, you all can get a copy of this. It's fine. It's also going to be in the portal. But remember this vision of it. So when I say the CapEx amount, you'll remember this is the exterior value add. But go ahead, Nick, go to the next. And we already talked about ourselves, but for those that don't know, I'm Chris Jackson. Krista and I are business partners for 7 years now, but we each had about 3 to 5 years experience each before that on our own. So we teamed up about 7 years ago. So we have about 20 years experience together. And we've done over 1,500 unit transactions. We have a little over 800 right now. Done 9 full cycle deals, purchase, rehab, refinance, or sell. Done 9 of those. And $90 million in projects. We've been doing this for a while. I was a tech guy for a long time. I was a partner at a tech company. And then about 3 years ago, I went ultra full-time, but I was double duty for a while. So I do have a tech background. And Krista, say hello. I didn't give you enough warning on that one, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I like sitting back and just listening on these guys, because part of my role, guys, as what I do for Sharpline is I'll talk you to a bit in a second about what I've done in the past, but what I do now is, you know, high level asset management of all the properties. We have 11 right now. This will be our 12th acquisition. 13 and 14 are coming right up behind them. And you know, I'm kind of operations in keeping them all running, and reporting is one of my big roles. And I provide monthly reports to all of the investors, as well as doing what used to be quarterly, but now semi-annual webinars on all the deals. And I am responsible and host all those webinars. So my point is, I like sitting back on the presentation webinars and not talking that much, because I have to talk so much when I report to the investors. But historically, I am a lawyer by trade, and I hated it. So I jumped into multifamily in, actually, I jumped into real estate in 2009. I did single family flips on Long Island, New York. And then in 2012, 11 actually got into a mentorship program, learned from an extremely awesome mentor. That's how I met Chris. He was in the same mentorship program, and started my multifamily journey, buying my first multifamily asset 2013, partnered up with Chris in 2016. And we've been together ever since. So really excited to be on here, and even more excited to sit back and listen to Chris talk for the rest of the presentation.
Go ahead. All right, Marco, there's another great picture of Marco's family. That's my family right there. And unfortunately, our late poodle, Lawrence, with a U, don't call him Larry. He made it to 15 years old. It was awesome. Then there's Krista's beautiful family, her husband, Lou, who's been a great support for us over the years. It's awesome to have that kind of support in teamwork, and the spouses of your business partners, very important. Go ahead, Nick. And go ahead, Joe. There's Joe's awesome family.
Joey DTS.
Hey, everybody. Super excited to be here. Joe Sullivan. I live in Kansas City, as Chris alluded to earlier. So I do know KCK and KC Mo. But yeah, that's my family. Father of 4 girls. There's my lovely wife there too. I started investing about 4 years ago, and then about a couple years ago, got to know Marco and Chris, and a lot of these other folks on this call, and was very fortunate to join the Sharpline team last summer. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to take these for granted, but we've done a lot of these calls, and it's pretty incredible how many we've done now. So
Joe, so tell people, how long ago did you quit your W-2, Joe?
it was last July, so almost a year ago. Yeah.
You're multifamily.
So yeah, now I'm super stoked, because now we're building out we're self-managing these assets in my backyard in Kansas City. So these things this is awesome. This is like a dream come true.
Good stuff, Joe.
Go ahead, Nick.
Thank you. Yeah, so I've been with Sharpline it'll be 3 years this summer in August. And I actually live at the 43 unit that Marco spoke about before in York, Pennsylvania, right around the corner from the new build opportunity zone. And I've been in this property for 16 months now. Moved here last February, kind of in the middle of COVID. And we've just, we got it occupied, and we keep it fully occupied. And that's what we do. I help with the leasing for all of the properties, and that's kind of my role in the self-management aspect of things, helping funnel all the leads to
Nick,
the
you
necessary channels.
you didn't mention one thing. It's 100% occupied, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And we got about a 3 or 4 month waiting list, which is because of the RTLS real-time leasing system that you're using, and you work every day hand in hand with Joe. And that's the self-management and what you guys are specializing in. So great job, buddy.
So Nick was instrumental in developing the real-time leasing system that we have. And it was, some people have heard the story, but I'll say it quick. It was born out of a 90 something unit flip in Augusta, Georgia. And we were half occupied and COVID hit. And our property manager told us that there was no traffic. And I said, boop, bleep. So we went for it and we figured out how to get it leased up. And Nick has been great with that. And we've applied it to the properties that we self-manage. And it's been a part of one of the main staples of Sharpline communities. And Nick's done a great job with that. Go ahead, Nick. Nick is also my nephew. I don't think he said that on this one, dude.
Yes, I am the nephew.
I've known Nick since he was 8. All right, the projected returns, pretty standard for Sharpline deals, but this is a 506B offering, which means that you got to know one of the principals. If you don't know one of the principals, please reach out to Marco or one of us, but reach out to Marco. He'll set up a call and get to know you. Relationships are super, super important to us. If you don't know who we are and have never met us, you'll have to wait till the next deal so you can get to know us a bit. But it's really important for you to get to know us more than just satisfaction of 506B. It's get to know who you're investing with.
So for everybody that's new on this call, and I mean this, I put my cell phone up there. You could text me like tonight. Just send me a text. I send you my Calendly link. I've about 4,000 people on this phone, business things. And one thing I specialize in is networking and building relationships. And that I learned that skill at the restaurant. So if you want, just text me and I'll get on a free networking call and get to know each other and add some free value to you.
So this is going to cash flow right away, which means usually it's approximately 60 to 75 days after close, because we need to get through a month and then a full month of close, and then we reconcile the month previous, and then we distribute. But once we start distributing, we distribute monthly, because this is a cash flowing asset from the beginning, and even with significant rent increases, this one has a high probability of refi within year 2 or 3, even with the current market conditions, because of I'll show you what we're buying it for. And we know what assets are selling for and what can sell for once they have their capital plan deployed. So it has significant value increase, which is a great candidate for refinance. The 2 equity multiple means within that 5 to 7+ year period, one would double their money, and a 7% before the sponsor share in anything. And this, before you go to the next one, Nick, we were pleasantly surprised that in this, like I said, there's a 60 unit and a 36 unit. They're 1.5 miles away. I'll get to that, but it's important that you know that now. 1.5 miles away from each other. But the 60 unit, many of the units were in this condition. They're really yes, they're classics, but they were in strong condition. There's actually there's the dishwasher. It's awesome. You can see it right there. That's not every apartment complex has space for a dishwasher sometimes. So that's important. And also in the 60 unit, there's space for a washer dryer. Not all of them have them in there, but the hookups are in there. We're most likely going to put them in and then get extra in rent for the residents that don't want to pay the $1,200 because they're getting expensive these days for an extra monthly, and then it would pay for it within a year or 2. So that's an extra way we can add added income. But the condition of the 60 unit was nicer than we had thought on a base. They had done a lot of the floors, and you can see them here. And flooring is really expensive these days. That eats up a lot of your budget for interior. Go ahead, Nick. All right, so you're seeing the 2 different properties here. On the top, that is Cedar Gardens. On the bottom, that's Village West. The bottom one is 1987 built, and the top one is 72 built. The top one is where we're going to rip the mansards off and put in the new balconies, because the balconies are in pretty rough shape. And the top one's only 36 units. So that heavy lift is really only on the 36. Yes, we're painting the 60 unit, but we don't consider painting the heavy lift portion. There is some on the bottom here, on the bottom picture, you can see that like cream or cream pink color. On the bottom left, there's some rotting wood, and we will get rid of that paneling over there. So that is happening. There was some water issues from the roof. They didn't really have great gutter system. The owner did put newer roofs on. That's happened within the last 2 years, and the gutter systems are working correctly. There's water basins, and their runoffs are running correctly. We were nervous about that when we got into the units, because you have subterranean garden. Those were the units we were worried about, and there were no issues there. Our inspector was there, our builder was there, and confirmed that the water runoff work had done its job. So when you see the CapEx number, you'll be like, well, why are we doing all that work? There's just a lot of little things, and then the 36 unit needs a fair amount of work. So 1.5 from each other, 1 and 2 bed, majority 2 beds. I don't have the percentage in the top of my head, but there is about 20 to 30% that are 2 bed, 1.5 bath. Some are actually two bed, 2 bath. And this is really low rents for this area. Very, very low rents. Like 675, 680, it's starting to creep to 680 now. And when we're done, 2 beds, an average, there are some that are of A class or B class getting that 1,200 plus. So your average comp after we're done doing this level of work is definitely 975 or above. So that's a fair place to target, and I think we're going to get there pretty quick. 71.4 a door, and we'll tell you how we got this one. That is in the upside of this. But this property was owned by a seller for 15 years. His parents had given it to him, and he just, I mean, when you don't have a mortgage and you're 97% occupied, you don't push rents and you collect checks, and you unfortunately act like a slumlord a little bit. So that's why we need to put some work in. He just didn't take care of stuff. So that's where you look for deals. This was off market. I'll get to that next. Half the units, really surprised, and I want Joe to talk about this, because I when we were there, we both felt the same thing. In the 60 unit, a lot of the water heaters were replaced, so we did take care of that one. The 36 unit on the top one, he didn't really take care of, but on the bottom one, he took care of it. Joe, talk about that. Just give me your feeling on, like, we were pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, the seller had actually done some upgrades as well.
Good. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he had actually done quite a few upgrades. The picture, Chris, I mean, he's owned it for 15 plus years. So the upgrades were, 5 or 10 years ago, so they're starting to get a little dated, but
Right.
A lot of water heaters were replaced. A lot of HVAC condensers were replaced. Furnaces some were new, so they'd done a fair amount of work. And we were actually, when you do the property tours, you see a few units of each unit type, but then when you actually go to do the inspection, what the broker will tell you or the seller will tell you, you can be surprised in the other direction, and this time we were pleasantly surprised that they had done some work.
So Chris, here's another thing. This is actually important for my mastermind members on here, like Robert Musso and everybody. When we're doing inspection, what we learned was really cool. A few of the tenants, so they came up to us and they wanted to show us a few things. And when you get a seller that's kind of being negligent, and sometimes you'll see tenants, maybe they're not happy. The people were actually, this is something we don't go look for this on inspection, but they were actually happy to live there. Like they like living there. And what I'm getting at is we're going to come in under new management. We're going to fix things up. It's going to look nice outside, inside. So if they already like living there in conditions that aren't that great, they're going to really like living there. So that was really good to see a bunch of tenants.
Well, the reason for that is location is key. So we have become very good pickers of location. And the reason that they like living there is mainly because the layouts are quite beneficial to two-bed living. That they have a nice layout, a nice long hallway, a really decent size living room, and enough space for an eat-in kitchen. But then you have just geography location that I'll show you that makes it easy to go to work. So and you're on, this was huge. 2 highly visible roads, 16,000 and 7,000 average annual daily traffic. That's really good. It's not too busy to become over the top, and but enough to get that visibility. Go ahead, Nick. Thank you. All right, so the upside of this, like where are we taking it? We already talked about a little bit, but off market. So we had a great opportunity. The seller was doing a 1031, and we put in an offer about 2 months ago. And he said no, and then he came back to us, and then we had a lower price, this price, because the market was changing, and we knew that interest rates were going to go up. So we started underwriting for what was considered a higher interest rate, that we were being too conservative. And here we are. And the seller knew that we were closers. So what happened was the seller realized that we were good buyers, and he found his up leg. He's doing a 1031 to go somewhere else. So now you need a good buyer. You can't have a buyer that's going to mess up your 1031. And we had just closed the 72 unit, proved that we were good buyers with this broker, brings us this opportunity. And we got it for the price that we want. And we stuck to it. We let it, the seller came back to us. So we're doing 1.5 million of CapEx, removing those mansards, painting, balcony work, and we have enough money for 70 units of upgrade. That's a lot. And like it's a blended amount. You can't really, I think a lot of groups go in there and say, we're spending 5,500 or 8,700 each. Every single one's going to be different. So the average is around 8,000. So we could have one that blows out and we need 12,000. We could have some that we need 4,000. We could have what happens at the 64 unit, where sometimes we need $3,000 or $4,000. It happens sometimes. So we have the money to do it, and we're going to do it because it's meant to be a hold. And we're getting rid of those mansards, and it's we're the mansard slayers, kids. Like we're getting rid of these suckers. They do not help us. 250 units self-managed already in Kansas City. We have the team, got the resources, have our staff ready, and we're with this will be 347 units. We did rate lock already, so that is not something that one would have to worry that we're chasing. As of this presentation, it's rate lock, so it's not going anywhere. The lender is Aetna, and they don't work with just anybody, and they only work with really experienced sponsors. And we have low leverage on this. We're not ripping leverage hard on these. That is just not something at Sharpline we do. I'm just not comfortable with that. Not with where we are in the market cycle. You got to be smart about it. Your deals have to work with the lower leverage. So 65 loan to cost, that means you're putting 35% down and about 65 of the big CapEx. And this is not a short bullet, meaning short-term bullet, meaning that you got to refi fast. It's basically it's 30 months interest only, which is what we want because we're doing significant upgrade before the loan amortizes and the payments go up. And it's a 5-year. It's a 5-year term. It's not 3 years plus 1 plus 1. It's a 5-year term. That's great. We have enough time to get our CapEx plan done, our business plan done, see where the market's headed, get comfortable with the market, act and plan ahead.
So real quick, I want to reiterate some really important points to point them out because you cover some stuff. Guys, Aetna in my mastermind right now, if I refer Aetna to 10 mastermind members who are closing deals, they will not work with them. Aetna, I can't refer them out. We were chosen by Aetna. They come and interview you, and they only work with people they want to work with. And once they do something with you, they want to do more with you, and they will add value to you, which I'm not going to get into, but they add tremendous value to you, which is awesome. It just shows where our team is, and it's a good feeling to do that, to have that come to us. And the other thing was the rents. Once again, we're not making promises. 674 to 975 plus. Just like York was $11.99 to $14.99 plus, we're getting more. So there is there is a nice upside on the rents. That's what you're looking for. When we're looking at deals, I'm not gonna bring a deal with Chris that has $100 rent upside. Believe it or not, I know somebody who has one of those. And when they showed me, I was like, I really didn't want to comment on it. They're like, I'm excited about this deal. And I'm like, I'm really not, So yeah, so there's a nice upside on that. And last thing is it's a stabilized up heavy lift. That's what I don't know if you mentioned in the beginning, but stabilized means day one cash flow on a heavy lift, which is pretty cool.
And something that John Beatty and I were talking about earlier today, which is important, is you want to look at your single family home values in the area. Are they more expensive for the renters? Because you want people to be renters. If they can go very easily go buy a house, you could lose them as renters. You have to plan on that. So there was about a year ago, there's a house right below here that it's a 4-bed, 2-bath, 2,400 square feet. This sold a year ago for $300,000. So that delta is pretty big to be able to afford to then buy. There's some down here that are in the mid 200s, but they haven't sold yet. There's no comps, but this is setting a comp. That's just Zillow doing its Zillow's estimate thing. But that's a comp, 300 grand right there. So even with 10% down, you need to rip 30 G's plus closing costs. Not everybody has that. That's why we feel that we have picked a great place with high household income. This household income in the area is 72,000. Average household income in the area is 72,000. So that's why we feel that doing this type of value add and capex deployment is worth it. And also, Joe, just mention, you don't have to mention which one it is, but when we were deciding if we were doing this, started looking at some of the sale comps, and then Joe brings me one that is coming on the market, and it's like, it needs work has been done, but what are they asking?
Yeah, the work has been done, but it was done 10 years ago.
Right.
It's over 100 a door, so it's I'm not going to mention the property, but it'll be 105 to 110 a unit is what their whisper price is.
We're not going to mention the property because we're looking at it. So, but to give you the like, this is real. Now it hasn't sold yet, so negative Nellies out there can be like, but did it sell? But like, we know that it will. Like, even if on a bad day, this thing's selling for what's a bad day, Joe? 95, 94 a door.
Yeah, I mean 10 a door lower than what they're asking would be a bad day.
Yeah.
So 95.
All right, go ahead, Nick. Okay, so if you want to know if we're really Mansard slayers or we're just hashtag bros, this is the OKC Oklahoma City 100 unit. It's part of 130 units. We actually have started to slay the Mansard for reals. This is on the left. If you see, that's the actual Mansard that we started with. Horrific. Just it gives me nightmares. Like, I wake up in cold sweat sometimes, like thinking about this Mansard. It's like, this is so gross looking. Then you have the middle, which was our vision, a great rendering. And a lot of people, including ourselves, were like, can we really get it to look like that? But the vision is amazing. I think we can. And this is what it looks like right now. This is one of the completed buildings. We have 2 more that are 80% done, but this looks really close to the rendering. Just looks amazing. We're getting a lot of compliments in the area about it. The team has done awesome. There was a lot of challenges with this, of the timing of it, with the crazy supply chain issues, but just really proud of the team to execute it and get it to look like this.
Solving problems. Once again, we took on this deal and what happens, supply, but we're solving those problems, and that's multifamily.
So we know the costs because we've now been through it. We purposely actually did building by building instead of just buying all the material right away. We bought enough material for 4 buildings because we knew we were going to make some mistakes. And we did make some mistakes with some of, like, the crew did the flashing a little bit weird, and we had to get them to fix it on the windows. So you learn, you get your template right, you get the crew to do it right. Eric flew out there, got them back on track, and you do it right. You change your material order a little bit and you move forward. So you got to do that. You got to know that you're going to have problems. Go ahead, Nick. And then why Kansas City, Kansas, or like the whole KC metro, the whole MSA is wonderful. The Sullivan family got this for me. I got my Love for KC shirt on. There's Lihio. I gotta admit him. KC has treated us really well. We like this market a lot. It's doing what, like, this is why we chose this market to be self-managed. You got 2 million plus population with growth. Kansas City was just awarded. Kansas City was just awarded one of the host cities for the World Cup 2026. That's a very big deal. There's a lot of cities that get awarded it, but this, like, Kansas City was, like, you can tell when you see it in the list of other cities, it's like the city that could. Now, like, Kansas City doesn't get mentioned in a lot of the CBRE macro markets. And when you look at the macro markets that were awarded, like, Kansas City is now part of it, like Philadelphia, Dallas, Houston. It's part of that grouping. It got awarded a city, like, they knew that they could do it. There's a new Kansas City International Airport going live in 2023. The current airport is kind of dinky, and that's good for us. That allowed us to buy everything less, because when this thing goes active and more of the Californians come, because I'm telling you, the Californians just showed up in Kansas City and they're starting to overpay. It's kind of annoying. Joe and I and everybody at Sharpline is kind of annoyed. They're pushing it up. They're figuring it out. Once that thing goes active, that the prices are going to go up.
Let me add into that. 2012, I'm in an amazing market, Knoxville, Tennessee. One of my deals, a 26 unit purchase at 600,000. 8 years later, it is currently now appraised at 2.4 million, 4 times. I have another deal at 7 million that's appraised at 24 million. So every deal in Knoxville that I purchased in 2013 and 17, the upturn are 3 to 4. And I love KC. I love Columbus that we're in, and I love York that we're in. I really, really like the markets you're picking, because what we're buying at and what I see as in the airport, I see a lot of Knoxville, and Nashville's on fire. But when I got into, I want to buy more Knoxville, but we're not. But I have those 15 deals in 2,000 units that I'm holding on to. So that's why I get excited about the KC market.
So some of the other things that are, Nick, can you see somebody's muting? Can you see who that is? So the NFL draft is coming. There is a new Amazon fulfillment center 3.9 miles away to the northwest. 2,000 jobs. There's 31,000 people within a 3-mile radius. Told you about the household income. And then on this top area, if you see the S's, those are the subject. That's Village West and Cedar Gardens. And then you move a little southwest where that green is underneath. That's actually the Kansas Speedway, NASCAR racing. And then I will do Kansas City disservice if I try to talk about the importance of American Royal. So I'm going to let Joe talk about the importance of American Royal and what it means to the Kansas City market.
Yeah, sure. Well, Chris, first of all, you mentioned the Speedway.
Yeah.
Around the Speedway is also, it's called Legend Shopping Center. There's a bunch of retail there. Actually, we were there yesterday with the family watching a movie. So bunch of retail, really nice area, a lot of jobs there. American Royal, it's huge for Kansas City, and then it's obviously Midwest, big on agriculture. So American Royal was historically held in the West Bottoms, which is closer to downtown Kansas City. And so they're moving to a new state-of-the-art facility out on the Kansas side. So it was in the Missouri side, and now it's on the Kansas side. Got a big grant for it. And there'll be a lot of, they just host a lot of events, a lot of agriculture events at the American Royal. So it's really, really important to the city. Obviously, back in the day, there was a lot of, there was a lot of trading of cattle. Kansas City was a central hub for that, kind of like Dallas. My family were farmers, and my grandpa would talk about going down to the cattle yards and for cattle auctions. So it's very important to us.
And then talk about the new stadium, that there's rumors that's starting to become more than just rumors of coming downtown.
Oh,
Yeah,
there-
the Royals stadiums, for those for baseball fans, there's a couple spots near downtown that there's rumors that are starting to become more than just rumors, because there's been a lot more articles written about it. That looks like the Royals. I would suspect the next 12 months to be some type of formal announcement, but it looks like they're going to move downtown somewhere.
So, so Joe, one other thing, being executive chef and having a restaurant 25 years, for people, and even in Columbus, I'll give them this example. Restaurant owners want to go where the money is or where the growth is. In Columbus, there was a restaurant owner who owned 7 restaurants in Cleveland. He sold all 7 of his restaurants and he moved 7 new restaurants to Columbus, where we have property. And because it's growing, it's exploding, Columbus. The same thing, Joe, the food, the restaurants we went to was really good. And where I live in Ponte Vedra Beach now, from New York, guys, I moved to Ponte Vedra in Florida. Where I am, the growth, my house doubled. The growth is tremendous. A lot of New York, California people moving here. And the restaurants in the last 2 years have improved dramatically. A new high-end Japanese opened up. And why? Because the people are there. It was already a high-end, nice area, but now it's even better. So when you see the food getting better and the restaurants getting better, it's a sign of better. The chefs who are talented are going there and they're opening up restaurants. So I was actually really impressed with the food in that area that we went to, and that place that we went to have drinks. Rooftop was amazing. They were really, really, good drinks. And
What you're noticing about Kansas City, and we've had our eye on Kansas City for about 2 years now, 2 to 3 years. So at least a year and a half before we started buying property. And in truth, I'm bummed that I didn't pull the trigger earlier in Kansas City, but you get to learn a market and then you decide to enter it. But what's interesting is after you've been looking at a market for really like 3 years, because now we've been in it for a while, is like you can't see the forest through the trees, meaning like you take a step back and you realize that the city is getting recognized now, not just with the World Cup, but with everything that it's doing. And it's in its early phases. It's not getting the street cred as a market just yet, like the big boys, like we've talked about, the Houstons and all that, like the Phoenixes. That the population growth in Phoenix is just out of control. But also, you're gonna buy something and not cash flow. So we want both. Those are the markets we like, and we like the fact that Kansas City is underestimated right now. So that's what we feel is happening. And like I said, just saw 2 purchases, and nothing against the Californians. I got love for my California up here, but like, man, the Californians show up and all the prices go up. Usually is a good sign for the market. It just means that you have to be in there and be ready to buy because you're going to be competing with them. We got a lot big ups to our California folks here, that we have a lot of California investors, but yet they already know when they show up in a market, it starts like the big capital starts to get deployed. So I saw 2 sales and I was like, eek, oh no, they're here.
just like in Little Rock, Arkansas, my partner purchases many properties. A lot of big boys have showed up there. They've discovered that market and they're pushing the prices up. And he owns like 6, 7 deals there. And he's sitting there like, go ahead, push the price up on me, because my properties, I bought them for 40 a door. And now they're paying really high. So he's kind of excited about that. He might have to look for another market, but he bought right and he's set.
And that's it. I think that's it. I go to the next slide. I'm going to look through here and just see if there's. Let me just look at some of the questions.
I got one good question, Chris. But before that, I'm gonna read it out to you from Amanda. So, but one thing I don't want to forget to mention before I want you to answer that. It's an awesome question. It's probably
There
that is probably like the only one I want to answer. We'll give a shout out to Yosef, my brosef. Yosef, my partner out here. We are doing in New York. I'm coming back to New York, Friday the 22nd in New York City. He booked a great venue. We could fit 60 people. So it's going to overbook. And this is for beginners, passive, active. If you're in New York and you don't come to this, it's free. And it's high level, like-minded, awesome people in one room. I'm going to be covering many topics, adding free value. Come have a beer, a glass of wine. Yosef, introduce yourself real quick and talk about where you got the venue, and put your number in the chat. Have them reach out to you to sign up.
Thank you, Marco, and thank you for the team. Awesome deal always, and great presentation, Chris and Marco and Joe, Krista. So this is in-person meetup, and the venue is in Manhattan, in Midtown, 5-minute walk away from Penn Station, Lur. Many subway parking spot is little, it's Manhattan, but public transportation is good. It's a little art gallery. So it's really nice with art exhibits inside, and we can fit in about 60 people. We're gonna have some food and nice real estate talk. So if anybody's in New York, reach out to me. We already have 29 people confirmed coming. So it's gonna go away.
We didn't get the flyer out yet. Yosef, what's the exciting topic? Because I'm doing one Thursday night. I'm doing evolution and multifamily in Harrison, New York for Francesca. She's on here, and I'm doing five tips, and I'm also doing markets for beginners. What do we talk? We did some awesome topics today. What are we going to cover?
We're gonna cover why multifamily at this very juncture, and then why is it a way to become wealthy as opposed to rich.
I'm
Then you're
going over the two words, wealthy versus rich, which is it's a 1 hour conversation on those two words, and it's kind of mind blowing. And it'll just change your mindset. So wealthy versus rich, why multifamily in this time, and then we're going to close it out with something else. It's a secret. Don't say the last one. All right.
And networking. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome moment.
Yeah. I'm excited, man. I'm beyond excited. And we have Thursday night. We got a great one in Harrison with Francesca. That one's the flyer's already out there too. That's in Westchester, New York. So that one we could fit 100. But all right. And once again, before we answer the questions, guys, tonight, if you're interested in this deal, don't wait. It will overfund. Most of our deals like our 94 unit Opportunity Zone York. That is pre-funded 6 million or 5 million, I think, or whatever. I think 5.5 million in one day. That's an Opportunity Zone. That's extra tax benefits. I can't even go into it, but that one we're not even going to do a Zoom. We had a private Zoom. This deal is open. It will overfund probably in one day. And if people can't get into this deal, it's okay. We are working on other projects. And if you can't get into this deal and you want in this deal and you text me, you will have a shot first on our other deals. We will save you a spot. So once again, for the people who do miss out, like want this deal and do miss out, we will have similar market. We are, every deal we go after is it's almost like the same B class, A class, C class with the 300, 200 rent, like similar characteristics. And I don't care what the deal is. If it's in this market, I'm investing in every single one of our deals. My company is investing $500K into this deal. I've invested over 2.5 million in the last 2 or 3 years liquid. So yeah. So my cell phone number is right there. If you're new, do not be afraid. Text me. I'll jump on Zoom. I want to add free value. And anybody in New York, do not miss the Friday night with me and Yosef. It's going to be awesome. The first question, Chris, exciting question. I can talk about this for 30 minutes. I want you to talk about it, Joe, Chris, or whatever. From Amanda, it is benefits of self-management. I'm going to say one, I want Chris to talk all about it. It's just having total control and lowering expenses. Now, Chris, please, or Joe, elaborate on everything you love about self-management.
Oh, I mean, first, it's a lot of work. Like I want everybody should, that's an active sponsor here and a bit more experience in their journey. If you have larger unit counts, can't just jump in and take over a building. You have to know what you're doing. You have to have been through it. You have to have managed third party. But I want everybody to strive to get there because it allows you to just develop your own way of running buildings, because you are handcuffed a bit with your third party managements because they have their systems and you can't do it every way you want. I know a lot of people think that you can do that, but you can't. You can. We've worked successfully with a lot of third party property managers. We've had a lot of success with some. We've had some real big headaches with some. We've had to take over one recently with Oklahoma City, and do a hybrid with a smaller group. So it's real, but control And doing it your way is key. You want to hire the right people that embody your culture, your ethos, your hard work, the way you want to deliver service to your investors and residents, and also communication styles. We are a real-time group. If anybody at the Sharpline community is we send a text at 9 a.m. and say, can you send a pic over of that thing that we need to solve? And it happens at 4 p.m. Something's up, something's not good. It's real time, and real time helps. We get to solve problems faster. Expense reduction, maximization of rents. Joe, I'll let Joe talk about this because he reminded me of this word. I've now forgotten the exact. I know what it is. This I'd have to remember it. It's amazing word, but Joe's going to talk about it. When you deal with third-party property managers, you get this. Not everyone, like we said, we have some good ones. We've had some good ones. We have some good ones. You get into something called rent suppression, and talk about that, Joe. It's really, 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 really frustrating.
Yeah, we've experienced it on, we had one specifically that we experienced it with. That was kind of extreme, but they, if they're not owners, it's human nature not to care as much. Like Chris said, we have good ones that are third-party managers as well, but it's almost like in their subconscious to not push rents to the max, because it is, if you're really trying to push, it is just a little bit harder.
Yes.
Even if it's obtainable, it's just that you have to show it one more time, or you have to really sell the potential resident a little bit harder, or you have to stay after. And you have to stay till 5:30 instead of showing it at 4:30. So there's just all these things that go towards it, but it is definitely a real thing. There definitely is a lost rents. Well, at least we've experienced that.
Well,
When you self-manage, your team knows that that's something that you're concerned about, and you're always pushing through efforts through what we have in our RTLS that streams right down to more leads, better communication with our on-site teams, and then capturing the max rent. That is not always available to you like you would hope when you work with third party.
And also, I'm just going to jump in for a second because the ethos that you set up with it's your own company, it's your own properties, you're the owners. You're handpicking your employees and their on-site staff. You indoctrinate them into your, you bring them into your world and how you want to run things, and you empower them. So I don't know if it's because we're still kind of small or it's just who we are, but I had our new regional thank me couldn't stop thanking me after a Zoom call a couple of days ago, because I was doing a training with all the on-site and just walking them through, and I was empowering them and giving them some authority. And it doesn't matter what it was about, but I had to do some training with it. And we were probably on for about 2 hours. And, everyone got off the call and the regional stayed on. And she goes, I've been working for a lot of big companies for a long time. And she goes, never would a principal of the companies that I worked for ever get on a Zoom call and spend that type of time, empowering the staff and training and answering every question. And, she's like, thank you so much. And she's new to us. She's a new hire. And she's like, I love Sharpline. And it was so wonderful. Just, and so when you experience something, you hear that, she's excited to come to work. She's excited to work with us. She's passing on that energy to the people that she's hiring. There's this domino effect that's happening where we're attracting these amazing people to our properties, that the on-site staff that we're hiring. And, I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that because it was just an awesome moment, and I was really excited.
First, upon that, I want to add, what our team, we worked with each other. Being at the restaurant, I had employees that were 20, 25 years with me. Mary raised 3 kids and she was with me for 25 years. And my main chef, I knew him since I was 18. He was with my father at his other restaurant for 20 years and 25 with me over 45 years. And I have experience, and what we bring to the team, Chris, I came out to do inspections and I spent time with her, and I told her, and she saw my knowledge on hiring. I didn't use Indeed. It was all word of mouth. Like the certain way I hired is creating that team that's going to stay with you. Nowadays, if you get somebody to stay with you in the restaurant business more than 2 years, you're lucky. So my staff was 20 years plus, and the new people that I got nowadays were difficult. So it's really hiring the right people. And one thing my dad taught me was not to be a boss, but to be a leader. So what you talked about is you're empowering, is you're leading the people. So a boss says, do this. A leader says, let's do this together. So that's the whole boss leader thing that we're going to instill. And that's why she's really excited about working with us.
Well, Christy, Marco, what you just said, and Krista, what you experienced, and I think that this is really important for the investors to know, and this is why we have really great partners as investors that stick with us for a long time, is that the leadership leads to serve. That's what we do. We lead to serve. And in leading to serve, we become better leaders and we get to achieve what we want to achieve for ourselves, but only when you give up the self to become a servant to your team and investors and your residents. And that's, everybody embodies that, every single person in the leadership group, like Joe, Nick, Krista, Marco, Ramo, everybody, Yosef, like lead to serve. And that's important. I want everybody, like there's some, from an educational perspective, we have a lot of newer investors who, like, we got to do, who's somebody's gonna mute that. Okay, I got it. Sorry. Like basically I want people to understand that, like, a lot of people are going to become leaders as you become a multifamily investor and you start to grow your unit count. Maybe that's not what you thought you were going to be, but you are now a leader. And if you take on that ethos, you will become a more successful leader. It takes a while to figure that out, but once you understand the paradigm of lead to serve, you become a better leader.
Awesome. Chris, I'm going to bust through these questions real quick. Watch this. Minimum investment, Adam. Normally it's 75,000. I want to get in the mindset of people. Most of my doctors and my high level investors are 100K a pop every time. Robert Moso's putting in 100K this deal. A lot of 300,000, 400,000 investments. We try it, which is great because I don't want a lot of people in the deal. So we do that, but minimum investment is 75,000 for people. I do allow for Jake and Gino members and my MIH students members. They're my personal students. I do allow them sometimes to put 50. I do not allow a lot of 50. The reason is because you can't have too many people in a deal. So we should be 100K. I don't have to be 100K minimum. I'd say every deal, most of my investors that invest with us are 100K plus, but yes, it's 75K minimum. Are we, John Gelder, are we doing a cost seg? Yes, I love, Chris, we're doing a cost seg, correct? Before I say yes.
Yes.
I have, the reason I buy multifamily for the beginners on this call, cost segregation studies. I have not paid taxes legally since 2013, like Trump says. I buy real estate and I play with the rules that the IRS gives me. I am a real estate professional, but even when I wasn't, you will get some, you need to ask your accountant and lawyer about this, what there are tax benefits, or more if you're a real estate professional and less if you're not, but you will always get tax benefits. And I tell my buddies who love stocks, and my buddy was like, I just made 100K in stocks. So I said, well, you're paying a lot of tax, about 40,000. I said, I just refied 100K and got out from a deal and I don't pay any taxes on that. So it's really like 175K because I'm not selling that deal. So then I said, why don't you take your 100K in stock gains, invest it in multifamily so you get a little bit of tax benefits against hedging against those profits from the stocks. So that's why I love cost segregation studies. I will buy one property a year. I would always say that. I am closing 7 this year. I will buy one property a year for the rest of my life. I currently have about 22 cost segregations going on right now. So yes, 5 years accelerated depreciation. We're not going to get into that lesson. I could do a 2-hour lesson on cost seg for everybody, but I'm not going to bore you and put you to sleep. And the other thing we didn't do tonight for the new people, we don't want to stress you with underwriting. I need to say this and then we can probably get off. we didn't talk about waterfalls and this and that and 7% for the new people. That's why you need to text me and I will add a 45 minutes of, I really will spend time with you. I don't need to be working anymore. I became financially free at 41 and I retired at 43 years old, fully retired, and I'm able to do what I love. So reach out to me. But for the new people, the way it works with us is you go to our portal, commit to 75,000. I'm interested in investing with you guys. Then when you do invest, like you're getting there, we send out an email with an executive summary, and it's so detailed, 30 to 35 pages, maybe less, more. It has the underwriting, has everything, this information that if I went over right now, it would put you to sleep. And then when you look at it, you can actually call me and I actually will answer questions. So like, if you do not see something on that executive summary, it is so detailed. It's really nice. Chris does it. Chris, do you do that by yourself or somebody help you with it or?
No, Nick and I, the executive summary is done through a program, but we've done so many and Nick and I work on it together. He serves it up to me.
So that guys, for the people who are saying, yes, everything is on there. All the information that you need is on there, that what's going on, the returns, the before the returns, expense, all that stuff. And once again, when you read through it, because sometimes people say, hey, I didn't see that. It's actually, people nowadays with these damn phones don't have attention span maybe to get through page 5, which are actually really nice you can learn. A way to learn multifamily is reading the executive summary. So if you don't read the whole thing, somebody goes, I didn't see that. Well, it's actually there. Then I will point it out and say, it's right there. Go look at it. These are the returns, the refi probability and this and that. It is a very detailed executive summary. Once you see that, and then if you're very interested that, after that follows an email with documents to sign. You sign the documents and then it has instructions to wire. And it all happens within now, after this call, about 7 days for the executive summary. I'm not going to, every deal is different depending on how busy we are. Then after that, after the 7 days, another 2-3 days for the docs, and then another maybe 7 days, we give 5 days to wire. So within 2 weeks, everything's going to be done. And that's it. That's for the new people. But once again, like I said, just reach out.
I'm just looking at Marco. I'm looking at just some other questions. John Beatty had a good question. What's the 1 and 2 bed split? It's roughly 70% 2 beds. So it's a much higher concentration of 2 beds. So thus getting higher rents. Yep.
What are a few things you don't like about the deal?
Well, I mean, actually, I'll answer this question. This is like one of those interview questions, like tell me what you're bad at. Like, what is your
What happens?
What's your weakness? Yes, but I'll answer it. What do you think I don't like about the deal? I wish we didn't have to rip off the Mansards. That'd be awesome. I really wish we didn't have to rip off the Mansards, but we're going to anyway. And it just it's a fair amount of work and it's worth it. So what do I see as risk to limited partner? Normal risks of being a real estate investor. It's anybody that's investing with us understands those risks. You're trusting Sharpline's people, principles, track record to mitigate those risks. That's what you're doing. I mean, like there's risk to limited partners for sure. But you're working with a team that has been doing it for a very long time and been through a lot of situations and come through those situations on top. So that's what you are, you're mitigating your risk by working with a great team.
So I'm answering that. Upon like risks in 2007, when my restaurant and many restaurants were failing, I grew my business in 2007 when all the competitors on my street were closing their doors. I picked up LaGuardia Airport for catering, which was an hour away. I picked up Sloan Kettering, the biggest cancer center in New York City. And what I did was the same thing you do in multifamily is you need to, it's evolution and innovation. Tony Robbins teaches innovation. Your team needs to be innovating every day to stay ahead to what's coming on with these gas prices and inflation and interest rates. And that's how you get through 2007 and 12, the biggest depression that we've since the depression of the early one. And that's the same thing now. What you need to do, you trust in a team. And the risks of limited partners on this, if you're a limited partner, we are signing on the loan. Me, Chris, Krista, Dr. Gupta. Limited partners do not need to come in with an LLC. You can, some do. Because that's right, Chris, that's a protection on a limited partner is they
on the liability side. But I mean, like, I'll name it if like you have to. Once the question's asked, you have to name it. And we at Sharpline don't shy away from this question because other sponsors don't want to answer this. the risk to an LP is total principal loss. Like that is the risk. And everybody has to know that. And that's in the PPM, but that hasn't happened to our team. And we are working with the great team that we have, the innovation that's Marco's talking about, great debt. We put on great debt. We don't put on really heavy LTV. We know how to get occupancy up when it starts to go down. We know how to jump in when we have a property management company that's not doing that great. We know how to oversee massive construction when you have a group that's not really doing it that great, and you got to jump in. You send your team to fly to Oklahoma City and fix it. You solve problems. You work with a group that's done it before, and that's what you're working with when you're getting involved with investments like this. But when it's named and brought out, we're not scared to answer it. You have to understand what this is.
I go by what Kiyosaki says, proper diversification, and Robert Kiyosaki says multifamily, gold, silver. He loves multifamily, and as I do, I retired at 43 years old because of multifamily, not because of stocks or crypto. I own maybe 2% of my portfolio now is stocks. I say this saying, I like to buy wood and brick instead of fake paper. I don't like the Madoff situations. I do invest in stocks, but I treat it more like the casino. I actually like crypto, believe it or not, because of the volatility. I like the challenge of crypto. But once again, I think they're about 5% of my portfolio. I am hard assets where multifamily, for the new people here, we can control the asset by forcing appreciation, and even through bad times, you can hold in cash flow. It's an asset. You can't control fake paper. When I was interviewing at IBM when I was 21 years old, the accountant had lunch with me that was there, and he was saying that, you know how like, oh yeah, but if you buy Apple and earnings are great, IBM falsified earnings, and they actually were getting in trouble for it. And I was interviewing for a job with the company, and he's like, there might not be a good time for you to interview right now with this division. So that's the thing. You can't control Apple falsifying earnings, but Marco and Chris can control our asset because we own the asset. So that's the thing. It's a trust factor with these stocks of Enron and WorldCom going bankrupt, Enron being falsifying. Whereas there's a lot of deals out there. You want to invest in the team, the people, the family. There's deals out there, 20% plus IRR and all that, but you'll have a 0% IRR if you don't invest in the right team. So.
All right, guys, we just realized the time here. Thank you, everybody, for staying on. Thanks, everybody. It's gotten late, but I appreciate the questions, and we'll have more to come. We're out there looking for deals. There's dislodgement in the market right now. You have some seller fear. You also have some sellers not selling right now because they feel that this isn't the right time to sell. So we're out there, we're active, and we're really picky about what we purchase. So we have the deal flow, so stay tuned.
And if you don't live in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, whatever, come to New York with me and Yosef, stay overnight. You guys, I'm telling you, the energy in the fucking room, excuse my language, I can't explain it. High level, like-minded people. I teach the power of proximity from Tony Robbins, and I teach that in my mastermind. You need to come and witness it and just be around these people. And we're going to go over that wealthy and rich. It's people don't cover it. It's going to be awesome. So Chris, I'm excited, man. Another great call. I'm looking forward to meeting some new people, and let's stay in touch.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
everyone, for coming.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
Good night, all.